the chairman, the MD and CEO, the many senior officers, many members of the Federal Bank team. Good evening, congratulations. Thank you for inviting me to be part of this celebration as you open your new branch and your new office. I must say that I have some special connections with the bank, at least with the officers of the bank. Mr. Balagopal and I studied at the same school, though a few years apart. We're both older mentions. Mr. Srinivasan and I studied at the same college, fewer years apart, at REC Trichy. And I have a funny story to tell that when I left the US and came back to India, and then the global financial crisis happened, and then I retired from banking, I thought. And for various reasons, I re entered banking, but with a completely different twist. I went from being a kind of derivatives and high financial engineering investment banker, trader, to being in a global commercial bank like Standard Chartered Bank. I was lured back into service, and I requested that I should not move away from Chennai. It didn't last long. In a year or so, I did end up going to Singapore and spending a few years there. But when I joined the bank in Chennai, they had to create an office for me because I had a global job title. It was not related to the Indian operations. I was in the global capital markets business. And there was a big stir in Chennai because they said there's not been a band 3 MD in Chennai since you left, whenever that was. I think I joined the bank a couple of, maybe shortly after you left. So I also followed Mr. Srinivasan at Standard Chartered Bank. I went on to do other things and got promoted to band 2 and all that. But anyway, I feel a bit at home now because of all these connections when I'm here. We have just finished a grueling 33-day ordeal in the assembly, at the end of which we have got an appropriation from the members for a budget for about 4,13,000 crores for the expenditure for this year. Among many things, I'm very proud that we were able to reduce the revenue deficit by over 32,000 crores in 2 years, that we have brought it down to about a quarter or a third of the union government's revenue deficit, half the union government's fiscal deficit, while delivering faster growth with lower inflation. So at least we do some things right for having been a banker. But I want to talk more about the future. And ever since I came, I make it a priority to attend every quarterly SLBC meeting in the state here. I echo the chairman's comments. Bank credit is crucial to growth in a developing economy. When we were at Stanchart, where I was in wholesale banking, our rough rule of thumb for capital allocation was that if the GDP growth was going to be X, our credit book should grow by 1.5 to 2X. That's the only way that we would know we were keeping market share. So from that perspective, both from the micro level, from the small business finance and the schemes for the cart vendors, etc., all the way to the MSME and the overall CD ratio, I'm quite intimately involved with the SLBC's work. And by pure coincidence, about 3 days ago, the Minister of State for Finance from Delhi was here, and he wanted to hold a special SLBC. I couldn't go because the assembly was in session, but I had a chance to talk to him before he went. I wanted to just pay him my respects. And he said, Tamil Nadu does well in everything else. You only have two limitations. He said, one, you don't have as many Jan Dhan accounts. And I explained to him that's because we have much better banking infrastructure than most states. And he looked up his data and he said, that's right. You have 19 branches per 1 lakh people or something, which is much higher than the national average. And then the second thing he said is that you also don't have Bank Mitra. He said, you're short on Bank Mitra. I said, again, we don't need Bank Mitra. Just look up your stats. And sure enough, he found we were like double the national average for ATMs per square kilometer, or whatever the metric is. So, though we are a well-banked state, and though we are relatively, and I think every SLBC meeting they remind me that our CD ratio is 1.1, 1.3, 1.2, something like that. That doesn't mean there's no room for improvement, and I'm always looking to do things better with the government, within the government, and also with our partners. In particular, I think banking has, or the technology has the power to really transform the nature of the banking relationship. The CEO was just telling me about a program introduced here with the RBI about giving instant credit to farmers. I think that's, it's good. I think it epitomizes the kinds of innovation we can do. We were looking at some street vendor credit, a revolving credit for street vendors through some cards for 3 to 5,000 rupees. We're also doing a lot of other cleanup activities, as I've discussed in the past. So I think through the application of technology, through innovation, we can both benefit. One, that we get to drive the access to credit deeper and deeper through society and remove the curse of kind of usurious money lending and make what is otherwise quite an unequal society. Even if I look at the CD ratio being above 1 for a state like Tamil Nadu, for a state like UP, it's only about 50%. There's just not enough application of effort to technology platform. That's not good in a society, in a democracy. We want to have more equity. So here I think it's a win for us. As a government, we see growth. It's a win for society because they get access. But it's also a win for the banks. As I keep mentioning in the SLBC meetings, too much of our banking system has too much concentrated risk to too few individuals. There have been politics in the decision making, and a lot of our banks' balance sheets are beyond the prudent limits of risk towards single entities or groups. And so this kind of diversification, I think, is going to help the banking industry as well. So anyway, I don't want to get more technical to a bunch of bankers, but I would say that I'm very happy to be here again. I congratulate you. 200 branches is no small thing. We're very happy with your investment in Tamil Nadu. We hope it's very fruitful and productive. As a government and as a finance department, we look to do more things, and particularly on the innovation and the outreach programs, we'll be excited to work with you. I congratulate everybody who's been involved with this effort, and I wish you all the best. Thanks.